Hi Lamia, thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you.
Lamia Charlebois, you are a PR professional, speaker, author, and a reporter with more than 20 years of experience.
Yes.
And I'm proud to say that you are Lebanese.
Yes, I am prouder. Yes, of course, I am.
Can you please walk us through your career path from the day you left Lebanon till now?
I don't know if you can consider a career, if a career starts when you first start working, but I remember my first check. And I was 18 actually. And that check, I went to a bank, I cashed it, and I went to a jewelry store in Hamra. I remember very well, it was Bouchagnon. And I bought a golden ring. And I put it on my finger and I looked at it and I thought this was the first step of my career. And now when I employ young people that are 16, 17 or 18 for little jobs, I always give them a check and I photocopy it and I put it in an envelope and I say, remember this is your first step for your new career. So I guess it started when I first had the taste of what working is about, because to work is not to study, it develops something else in the brain. And of course, when you are rewarded with a salary or with a check,
it's like a proof of
it's
your
like a
work.
proof.
Yeah.
It's like a good grade at school, except that you feel you have a bit of power with that money, which can be a bit dangerous. That's another story. But it gave me the taste right away that I knew I had in my mouth already to work and to build a career. So it started young, and then when I went to study in university, I worked at the same time. I had 4 part-time jobs, 4 courses, and I was also doing judo, theater, and dance, I remember. So all this, the more active you are, the better organized, the stronger you get, and the more you understand what you want to do or you don't want to do. So your career path is not something that you look at from the beginning and you look at the path and you say, I'm going from here to here. For some people it is. For me, it wasn't the case. It was developed as I went. Every time I did something, it opened up something in my mind and a new qualification or a new taste for something. And it made me step into that direction. But overall, I didn't spread myself into different directions. It was always communication, public relation, and journalism, which is pretty much the same axis. So if I have one recommendation to make to young people who are starting a career, is at least try to focus on one area. You can't be an engineer, an architect, and a gardener. You have to focus on something, make sure this is what you love, and make sure you have what it takes to continue in that path. And if you make a mistake, make sure you know it's a mistake and learn from it and move on.
How hard was your shift from Lebanon? So you moved from Lebanon to Canada.
Yes.
How hard was this?
Extremely hard. Extremely hard and extremely exciting. First of all, my move, the fact that I left Lebanon, not necessarily voluntarily, the war made me leave Lebanon. So I believe that this exile was a bit forced. Some people, they were born in Switzerland, they wake up one day and they say, I want to have a career in Canada. And they do it peacefully and willingly. I feel I didn't do it really willingly. That being said, it was very exciting because I knew I had to go and conquer, not a country, but conquer myself first, my fears, understand what kind of woman I was, what kind of entrepreneur I was, what kind of person I was. So it was mixed feelings. And the fact that, at the time we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have FaceTime, we didn't have Skype. So I could speak with my parents too rarely. I would speak with them on the phone maybe 4 times a month, and it was hell. That was hellish. It was very hard. I come from a beautiful family. We have strong ties. So exile is hard. When people tell you that they want to leave, they're fed up with Lebanon, they think that the grass is extremely green on the other side. It is and it is not. So you have to wait.
Talking about that, do you think that for Lebanese people, Lebanese youth, or any youth in any country, do you think it's important for them to leave the country for a few years and then gain some international exposure, get to know themselves? As you were saying, when you're alone, you will be able to, you will know more about yourself and then come back and implement what they have learned in their own country. Do you think this is important?
It's nice. I mean, is it important? Yes and no. Is it nice to have? Is it good to have? Yes. Does it come with risks? Yes. I find that if you leave and you spend usually beyond 4, 5, or 6 years, it's very hard to come back. It's a risk. Somebody has to know and assess that risk. Once you left and you had the taste for something else and you learned, you acquired new habits, you lived in a new way of life, and you probably you're enjoying that way of life for most. Some people don't, but for most, then the return is harder. So it's a risk. I know a lot of people who left never came back. I left for 3 years. It's been more than 30 years. So there is a risk.
Yes, but in your situation, you went to Canada and you started working with different companies, and then
Yes.
you decided to start your own PR
Yes.
consulting firm,
Yes.
right? Can you tell me about this switch? How come you decided
The
to...
switch came from a crisis. An entrepreneur, some people are born entrepreneur. I admire them a lot. I'm not a risk taker. I went to school, I went to university, I worked at the same time. I worked for big corporations where you have a salary, where you have social benefits, where everything, you're like accompanied through the whole thing. I worked for PR agencies where it was more rock and roll because you work on different mandates and you learn the art of the hourly rates. It's a different set of mind than an agency. And then I launched my own agency. But when I launched my own agency, I had just separated. My daughter was 4.5. I knew I was going to raise her by myself. And I thought there is no way I can be a vice president in a big corporation, leave at 5 p.m., pick up my daughter from daycare, and bring her back home. Like, you can't leave an office whenever you want when you're tied to a team. When you're on your own, I can leave, pick up my daughter, come back, and work till 2 a.m. So I launched my company out of, not necessity, but out of practicality. I thought it's the best way for me to be a good mother and father, because I was playing the double role, and to be a good professional, in my career, and be a good consultant and good communicator. And it worked. So I work about 16 hours a day, but at my own, I would stop when she needed me. If she was sick, she was at home, I would make a soup and go back to my computer. So 15 years went by, and I realized that at the end of the day, I am an entrepreneur. I love that. I will never go back. Never say never, but theoretically, I'm not going back to full-time employment. This is beyond full-time. This is more fulfilling. I have a great relationship with my clients. And when you're a consultant, it's a bit more than being, it's very rewarding. You give professional advice, but you're also accompanying a CEO in his job. You're helping leaders become better leaders. So, no, I enjoy it. I enjoy every second of my day.
So, in addition to you being a super mom, and
you have to ask my daughter if I'm a super mom.
You did all of this for your daughter. I'm pretty sure she knows how amazing you are. And you are a super mom, and you are a super woman as well, because of everything that you left your country, you built your career, you raised your daughter, she's 20 years old, and now you're trying to help as much as possible anyone that is Lebanese and anyone that's from your country, or
Yes.
even that's not from your country. Whenever you have the opportunity to help,
Yes.
you're always there for everyone.
Yeah, I do.
In addition to all of these things that you do, you have founded a foundation that's very important to you. Can you
It's
tell
very
us?
dear to my heart. Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about it?
It's
What is it called?
it's the Nuhad Fuad Breast Cancer Foundation.
Okay.
It's my mom's name. Whenever you see somebody that is what we call successful, there are parents behind that person. Usually, I was blessed to have amazing parents. My mom was diagnosed with cancer very early on. She was 52. She was an incredible person. She's my hero in terms of personality, of values, of as a woman. She worked, she loved, she created goodness around her. So when she passed away, I wanted to continue her legacy, and I co-founded a foundation under her name with my dad and my brother, and we help women in need who cannot pay their chemotherapy or radiotherapy or their treatments. And we don't have, an office or staff or letterhead. We just do it automatically, and we have helped around 180 women since 2000, regardless of gender or nationality. So I know that she's watching over, I know she's proud of that, and I know we're continuing her legacy, and her name lives on. So So yeah, that's very nice to have.
I'm sure she's proud, which proves again that you are a superwoman.
I hope she's proud.
Can you? What advice would you like to give to any girl, any young girl, or any woman? But let's focus on young girls.
Yeah,
Yes.
I prefer that. It starts very young. If at 15, 16, 17, 18, okay, right before you finish school, right before your baccalaureate, you are dreaming of marriage and love only, please wake up. That's not marriage and love and romance is a beautiful consequence of your heart. It will develop your brain too if you choose the right man. But that should not stop any girl of having goals and dreams. I don't like the word dreams. Goals to become a professional, whatever, professional dancer, an architect, to have a career, to work for a corporation, to be the best, let's say she's a painter, to be the best painter in the world, to sell her paintings, to be a businesswoman at the same time. Regardless of her life choices, married, divorced, I don't care about the partner she's going to have in her life or not. What she will own forever is her brain, how she develops her brain, her career, her satisfaction from what she gives back to society. A brain cannot be sitting in a salon all its life. Like a brain has to function, to pump the energy and the know-how, and to gain energy and know-how. But it's a personal choice. That's my opinion and that's my advice. And I have very high expectations from Lebanese women because we have what it takes. We have the character, we have the strength, we have the education, we have the environment, we have the sun, we have the food. We're so well fed, we should be brilliant.
True.
Yeah, so that's my message.
And I totally agree on that. And this is one of the main reasons why we're trying to do these initiatives, is to show girls and women in general, women like you that are successful, that have raised a family, and that can be mentors to these girls if they wanted. So this is why I want to ask you this question.
Yes.
Lamia, if a girl or a woman watches your video, your interview, and gets inspired by you the same way I was inspired by you.
Thank you.
And reaches out to us and asks us if you you can mentor her.
Yes, I can mentor by email. I live in Canada, as you know. I come to Lebanon 3 times a year. I try to do a lot when I'm here. I'm never on a real vacation when I'm here. I work 70% of the time. I work for Lebanon. So any girl, woman, person, a man that needs, that I don't know if I can help them, but if I can instill a little spark in them, I will. So yes, they can contact me by email, they can contact me through you. Yes, but not 50 at the same time, but yes.
No, of course it's going to be in an organized way.
Yes, with pleasure, with pleasure.
Thank you so much, Lamia.
Thank you
so much for giving us your time. You are really an inspiration for me, and I'm pretty sure for everyone that watches this interview.
You're doing a great job. Thank you. You're doing a great job because the little effort you're doing will empower other girls.
I hope so.
Thank you.
This is why I'm doing all of this. I hope it works out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.